we'll open up our big book and we'll see what the next thrilling instalment is. Where are we? Right. Do you think there'll be any stopping points on our journey where we don't have to solve a puzzle? Sighed Melchior as he and Balthazar trudged back to the camels, carrying the gold between them. I'm starting to suspect not, replied Balthazar resignedly. Kevin, Gary and Wayne the camels were rather glad to see them. While they were resting, Caspar had been attempting to teach them the rudiments of ancient Ugaric script, and they were keen to get on the road again. Melchior got the camels ready. You see, that's what happens if a word throws you, then everything else goes all wrong, doesn't it? If that happens, just sort of stop, go back and, it's not the end of the world, is it? Melchior got the camels ready to go, while Caspar tidied up the scrolls he'd been using, and Balthazar loaded the gold onto Wayne the camel. Wayne was starting to think that perhaps he should have been less stubborn at the beginning of the journey, and then he wouldn't have been nominated as the sole gift-bearer. A small box of myrrh wasn't a great burden to carry, but a generously sized bag of gold was a different matter. The three wise men were caring pet owners, however, and Balthazar stated that, as Wayne was carrying the gold, Balthazar would walk beside him instead of riding on him for the next few miles. The Magi and the camels set off. Melchior hummed to himself and counted the number of camel treats in his pocket, while Caspar began holding forth on the topic of hedonic calculus, and Balthazar led the way ahead. Suddenly Melchior looked up from his camel treats. Something seemed wrong. Caspar must have sensed it too, as he paused mid-sentence. Both Magi looked around bewildered until they realised. "Balthazar!" called Melchior. "Balthazar! Where are you? Balthazar!" Balthazar had seemingly vanished into thin air right in front of them. Wayne the camel stood, chewing grass and spitting periodically, and Balthazar was no longer beside him. Melchior felt panicked. "What could have happened?" he said frantically to Caspar. Caspar stroked his beard. Fascinating question, Melchior. Possibilities seem endless. Spontaneous combustion, alien abduction, sudden transformation of essence. Melchior sensed that Caspar was not going to be a useful source of assistance, and continued to call, "Balthazar! Balthazar! Where are you?" And then a voice replied, seemingly from beneath Wayne's feet, "Down here!" Melchior was relieved to hear Balthazar's voice and ran towards it, but stopped just in time. The Magi weren't far from the gold mine, and Balthazar had fallen down a mine shaft. "The numbskull was probably gazing up at that star again instead of looking where he was going," muttered Melchior to himself. "Are you all right?" he called to Balthazar. "Oh, heavens, yes, I'm fine. Never better, old chap. Is it time for tea?" "I think he's hit his head when he fell," said Melchior to Caspar, who had strolled over to the mine shaft with an air of academic interest. "I'm going to the nearest village. I'll come back with ropes and a medicine woman. Stay with Balthazar and don't try anything clever," called Melchior as he hopped onto Gary the camel and rode away. Melchior turned with the medicine woman to find Caspar sitting at the entrance of the mine shaft, reciting the Epic of Gilgamesh to Balthazar. "What are you doing?" asked Melchior exasperatedly. "I thought he might be bored down there," explained Caspar. "He might like some light entertainment." The medicine woman pushed both of the wise men out of the way, and after checking that there was no immediate danger to herself, began to assess the casualty. "Can you hear me?" "Yes," said Balthazar. "Do you know who you are?" "We three kings of Orient are," replied Balthazar, who had whacked his head quite hard when he fell, and was having trouble getting his words in a sensible order. The medicine woman threw down a rope. Balthazar grabbed hold of it, and between the medicine woman and the two other Magi, they were able to pull him out of the mine shaft. "Any nausea or blurred vision?" the medicine woman asked him as he clambered out. Well, I'm not sure exactly how many camels did I have when I fell into the mine shaft, Balthazar asked. In his adult state, this is what Balthazar could see. So, have a look at your piece of paper and we'll see. The instructions, always read the instructions. Look at how the first picture changes to become the second picture. Then work out which option, A, B, or C, the third picture would look like if it changed in the same way. So the first one, we've got a sort of a diamond with a camel in it. There's our camel, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it goes into a 4-figure shape, doesn't it? And the camel stays exactly the same. So it's got 2 more sides. So we want a camel to stay the same, which then means that's either A or B, because they've both got the camels the same. 1, 2, 1, 2. And C has turned upside down. And then also we want it to have 2 more sides. And so that's A, because that's got 5 sides. So now let's have a look at 2. We've got our camel. Ooh, I wonder what it's doing that. Let's just do that, shall we? And then choose another colour. Who knows? So we had a camel. We'll just sort of do him. There's his 2 humps. There's his 4 legs. And he had a circle there. And then he develops, we've got our camel with 2 humps and his legs. And the circle goes there and there and there. So he gets 2 more circles, maybe? Or it doubles and he gets more? I don't know. But it's sort of moved around underneath. Maybe it's movement. Now let's have a look at what we've got in the other ones. We've got our camel here. There's his 2 lumps, there's his legs, and we've got 2 ones. Now I would have expected them, if they were like the first one, to move around here, but none of them do. I'm going to eliminate C. We've got A, B, C, because C's got all the squares on top of each other, hasn't it? So it's definitely not that one. That doesn't look right. Well, when we went from the original shape, we got 2 more shapes. Or it kind of times by 3. I think that's it. I think it's A, because from going from 2, in the first one we had 1, which went to 3. Here we go from 2, that goes to 6. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think that's the one, because B. Do you know what? The hardest ones to spot are always the ones that are where it's counting. So the first one was counting, wasn't it? It was counting the number of sides. The second one was counting the number of boxes. And then the third one, now let's have a look. We've got, I'm going to draw it roughly, a circle there. Well, they're not circles, are they? Hexagons. And then 1, 2, 1, 2. And if you have a look at the triangles, we'll count all the sort of things. That's got 3 points. That one's got 4 points. That one's got 5 points. That one's got 6 points. So we want one with 7 points, and that one's got 8. And the one with 7 points is C. It's tempting to go for E, isn't it? So the answer for that one is C. And now let's have a look. I think the theme of these is counting, which always does everybody's head in. Now, our camel is in the question 4. It's pointing to 9 o'clock. Then it points to 10, sort of, I suppose if we say west, northwest, then it points to north. Then it points to northeast. So we want it to point east-east. And then I look down at them and find they all point to east, which is distinctly disappointing because I was feeling quite pleased with myself. So it's going to be the chocolate buttons. Well, we've got 3 chocolate buttons here, and we get half. Then in the next picture we've got a whole one, then we've got 1.5, and then in the next one we've got 2, so we're looking for 2.5 chocolate buttons, which takes us to D. Ta-da! I assume it's chocolate buttons. Could be camel poo for all I know. Anyway, I shall see you tomorrow, my darlings. Bye bye.